Welcome back. Now, there has been a growing recognition of the significant impact of women-led businesses on economies and societies globally. However, despite their significant contributions, women-led owned businesses often face numerous challenges in accessing finance, knowledge and skill building opportunities. Now, for more insights on this conversation, we're joined by Dudu Zondo, who's the head of MoolaLend. Dudu, thank you so much for joining us this evening on News at Prime. It seems we are making some gains, more and more women entering the world of entrepreneurship, but the challenges that they face and the obstacles still remain. Take us through some of those challenges.
Hi, Masa. Thanks for having me. So some of the challenges that a lot of women face in terms of accessing funding is, I think a lot of finance companies are still very much a little bit backwards, though that is starting to change. But I also think that there are only 31% of all registered businesses in South Africa are women-owned, and they're only really getting about 10% of the funding in South Africa that's available. And that's something that MoolaLend really wanted to change. It was an internal decision that we made, that we made a conscious decision to say that, you know, as per our data, women are actually better repayers, one. But then we also told ourselves that, you know, we do want to make funding for women-led businesses more accessible, more flexible, and tailoring financial solutions specific to them as well.
Do you also understand as to why, you know, in 2024, in the 21st century, we're still sitting with such a low investment in women businesses, women-owned businesses? You're just mentioning, you know, 10% of the funding, also considering that there's 31% of businesses that are registered that are women-owned. Why are lenders and funders so apprehensive to lend money to women? And as you're mentioning, even though they are better payers.
Yes. So I think there could be a host of reasons. There could be a host of reasons, you know, as MoolaLend, it is a decision that we made to try and obviously change that. But I do think what we do find is that a lot of male-led businesses do find themselves taking on more risk and actually asking for the money. So I think, I think a lot of women-led businesses, sometimes they come a little bit too late when they are needing, you know, money and funding for their projects. So that is maybe one option. I think there are a lot of different options as well as to the reason why financiers are still not coming to the party. But I really do think by now in 2024 that a lot has changed. And I think, you know, a lot of companies have really seen that women are better payers. I think women are also, because the amount of women that are moving into entrepreneurship is increasing, I think there are more applications coming across our tables that we are considering a lot more. And, you know, I think, so that is something that is changing. And I think, you know, women-led businesses just need to continue making those applications and taking those risks.
Yeah. And, you know, there's quite an interesting quote that you said as well in one of the media reports where you said a lack of entrepreneurial confidence is undoubtedly on the rise, and funding institutions in our country would do well by our women-led enterprises to start including everyone that has a dream. Just talk to us a little bit about this rise of lack of entrepreneurial confidence as well.
Yes, yeah. So I think, obviously, the unemployment rate is really high. So I think you do find that a lot of people are now turning towards entrepreneurship. So I think now people are a little bit more confident in terms of actually moving into entrepreneurship. There are a lot of mentorship programs that are going around. And people are actually taking on that risk. People are willing to take on the risk of entrepreneurship. And I think it would be well for a lot of funders, such as MoolaLend, and what MoolaLend is currently doing is to take a chance on entrepreneurs, and more specifically women entrepreneurs, because in the past, they didn't have the access to funding that men did. And a lot of different industries as well were male-dominated and are still male-dominated. And I think it's important that women get the support that they need in order to break those barriers and enter industries that they previously did not have a foot in, so that they can make a name for themselves as well.
Dudu, how would you encourage other financiers? Because at MoolaLend, you've made it your, your mission to invest in women, to make sure that you provide support financially and also in terms of skills for women. But as a financier, a big bank perhaps watching, thinking, we may be turning people down unnecessarily. What are some of the advantages of investing and providing financial assistance to women-owned businesses?
I think what happens is, you diversify your investments. That's one. Two, I think also with the growing rise of women-led businesses in South Africa, and if I could make an example, in terms of working with government, one of the points that is advantageous is if your company is 51% owned by women. And that is something that we're seeing a lot of, where, if it's not a partnership, it's 100% owned by women. And so I think with the growth, it's important that SMMEs are the backbone of our economy. So that's where, if we're putting money into women-owned businesses, and if they're only sitting at 31%, hope within the next 5 years, that 31% might be up to 40%. And that's something that the funders and financiers of this country would be able to assist with, one. And also, we'll also inspire the younger generations of women-led businesses that will be coming through in the years to come. But I think it's important that us as funders, one, make that internal decision to start funding women, and to ensure that when women make applications to funders, it's also important that there are women behind the applications who understand the challenges that other women-led businesses are going through, and are able to structure such funding that women also get access to the funding as well.
We're mentioning this 31% of registered women-owned businesses, but also we know that the reach of that and the benefit of those, even though it may seem like a smaller number, at 31%, it should be higher. But the impact, particularly the financial reach of that, is almost immeasurable. Dudu, I heard a quote this week that said, if you invest in a woman, you're investing in someone that will invest in others. And when we're looking at the unemployment rates and we're looking at the inequality rates as well, it obviously does make business sense as well to invest in women.
Yes, no, 100%. And a conversation I was having with someone, another important thing is that when you invest in women as well, you also invest in community, because generally what tends to happen is women also invest in their community as well. And women also tend to employ more people than men do as well. So it has a filter effect where, you invest in a woman, the woman then basically carries that down the line. So I think that would also, assist in help solving a lot of problems as well. So it is something worthwhile doing, and it's quite vital in South Africa as well.
Now, before I let you go, in case anybody is watching and thinking, I'm a woman entrepreneur and I like what he's saying and what MoolaLend is all about, if you can just tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing and how they can access you.
Yes, yeah. So MoolaLend is a funding company. We target SMEs in South Africa. We look to, bridge the funding gap in South Africa, and people can find us at MoolaLend.com. So it's MoolaLend.com. They can WhatsApp us or call us on 087-094-8539, or they can email us admin@MoolaLend.com, and one of our consultants will get back to you immediately.
And just to make double sure as well, MoolaLend is not doing this just for Women's Month. Is this your business model, 365, all days of the year?
24/7, 365.
Thank you very much for that. And thank you for all the work that you're doing in empowering women-owned businesses too. Now, that was Dudu Zondo, who is the head of MoolaLend. Now, moving